Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The Miami Dolphins might be standing on the edge of one of the most dramatic quarterback transitions in recent memory. And it feels like the beginning of a brand new chapter for this franchise. One that could shake up the entire AFC landscape. The whispers are getting louder, the rumors thicker, and the headlines bolder. The Dolphins are being linked to none other than Kyler Murray, the $230 million quarterback currently under contract with the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, you heard that right. Kyler Murray, the former #1 overall pick, the dynamic dual-threat star who once lit up highlight reels across the league, could soon be wearing aqua and orange. And if you've been following the Dolphins saga, this move would make a lot of sense, even if it's as shocking as it sounds at first glance. Let's start by acknowledging the elephant in the room. Tua Tagovailoa's future in Miami looks murkier than ever. Once seen as the chosen one, the player who would finally stabilize the quarterback position after years of inconsistency, Tua now finds himself at the center of swirling speculation. The general manager who believed in him enough to hand him an extension is gone, and when that happens, it usually signals the beginning of the end for the player tied to that regime. Add to that Tua's league-leading 13 interceptions this season, and the narrative begins to write itself. It's not that Tua doesn't have talent. He's accurate. He's smart, and at his best, he's electric. But the problem is that at his best moments have become too rare, and his turnovers have become too frequent. The Dolphins' offense, once hailed as one of the most explosive in football, has sputtered against tougher defenses, and patience within the organization appears to be wearing thin. So, what's next for Miami? The front office already took a low-risk swing in the draft, picking up Quinn Ewers, the former Texas quarterback with the golden arm and a highlight tape that looks like something out of a video game. But let's be honest, as talented as Ewers is, he's raw. He's a project. Throwing him into the fire in 2026 would be a huge gamble, especially for a team that's built to win now, with weapons like HILL and WADDLE ready to torch defenses. This roster doesn't scream rebuild, it screams let's go win a Super Bowl right now. That's why the idea of bringing in a proven veteran like Kyler Murray suddenly feels so intriguing. ESPN insiders Jeremy Fowler and Dan Graziano recently fanned the flames by suggesting that Miami could indeed be in the mix for Murray's services if the Dolphins decide to move on from Tua. And honestly, it makes sense on both sides. For Miami, it's a chance to reboot their offense with one of the most athletic quarterbacks in the league, a player whose improvisation skills could add a whole new dimension to Mike McDaniel's already creative playbook. For Murray, it's a chance to hit the reset button on a career that's been as much about potential as it has been about frustration. Let's not forget that Murray's time in Arizona has been a roller coaster. From dazzling rookie highlights to playoff collapses, from ACL rehab to questions about his leadership and commitment, the narrative has swung wildly back and forth. But there's still no denying his talent when healthy and locked in. Murray can be electric. He's got elite speed, one of the quickest releases in football, and a knack for making something out of nothing. Pair that with a coach like McDaniel, who loves designing misdirection plays and finding creative ways to get his playmakers the ball, and you start to see why this rumor is catching fire. Imagine Murray running bootlegs behind that Dolphins offensive line, or buying time for HILL to get open deep downfield. That's the kind of fireworks show that could make Miami must-watch television again. Now, the big question is, how realistic is it? Well, that depends on what happens in Arizona. Most insiders believe that trading Murray and his massive $130 million contract would be a logistical nightmare. It's not just about his salary, it's about the cap hits, the bonuses, the guarantees. The Cardinals might not find a team willing to take all that on. And that's where things get interesting. Because if Arizona decides they can't find a trade partner, they could end up releasing Murray before his 2027 money becomes guaranteed in March. If that happens, Miami could swoop in and make a move that feels straight out of an NFL drama script, signing Murray on a short-term prove-it deal, just like we've seen other quarterbacks do recently. Russell Wilson, for example, did exactly that after being released by the Denver Broncos. He signed a smaller deal to rebuild his value. And the same path could appeal to Murray. For Miami, it would be a low-risk, high-upside move. They'd get a quarterback with elite athleticism and top-tier arm talent, without having to commit long-term. For Murray, It'd be a chance to play in a system perfectly tailored for speed and creativity, surrounded by weapons and a head coach who's proven he can maximize quarterbacks. It could be a match made in football heaven, of course. None of this can happen without some big organizational changes. There's still the question of who'll be leading the Dolphins in 2026. Mike McDaniel has done a solid job, but if the team underperforms or misses the playoffs again, ownership might decide to clean house. But imagine if McDaniel stays and gets the chance to coach Murray. The possibilities are endless. McDaniel's offensive mind paired with Murray's playmaking ability could create one of the most dynamic offensive duos in the NFL. The Dolphins could finally have that elusive combination of creativity and chaos that modern offenses thrive on. But before fans get too excited, it's worth noting that Murray isn't a perfect solution. He comes with baggage, questions about his durability, his leadership, and whether he's truly committed to doing the little things that separate good quarterbacks from great ones. His injury history, including the torn ACL that sidelined him for most of 2023, still lingers in the background, and while his highlight plays are spectacular, consistency has always been his biggest challenge. The Dolphins, who've already experienced inconsistency at quarterback with Tua, might think twice before diving back into those waters. Still, the upside is impossible to ignore. Murray is the kind of player who can single-handedly change games. He can extend plays, escape pressure, and turn broken plays into touchdowns. In a league where mobility is becoming more and more essential, having a quarterback like Murray could give the Dolphins an edge that few teams possess. And let's not forget, Miami is still a destination that appeals to players. The weather, the market, the culture, it all plays a role. A fresh start in South Beach could be exactly what Murray needs to reignite his career. If this move happens, it would signal a bold statement from the Dolphins that they're done playing it safe. It would be a declaration that mediocrity is no longer acceptable, that they're swinging for the fences. In their pursuit of a championship, the Dolphins have been teetering on the edge of contention for years, flirting with greatness, but never quite sealing the deal. Maybe what they need is a quarterback who can inject some unpredictability, someone who can take over games when everything else breaks down. At the end of the day, this story is about the players whose careers have reached critical crossroads. Tua Tagovailoa, once the face of the franchise, now stands on uncertain ground, his future tied to a new regime's judgment. Kyler Murray, once hailed as a generational talent, is now fighting to prove he still belongs among the elite. Their paths might be about to intersect in Miami, creating a narrative that's as fascinating as it is unpredictable, whether it's a calculated gamble or a stroke of genius. The idea of Murray in a Dolphins uniform is enough to make fans dream again. And maybe that's what this franchise needs most, belief. Because the Dolphins have all the pieces in place to be great. The speed, the coaching, the defense, the swagger. What they've been missing is the quarterback who can pull it all together when the pressure's on. Kyler Murray could be that guy, or he could be another chapter in Miami's long and complicated quarterback saga. Either way, if this rumor becomes reality, one thing's for sure, the Dolphins won't be boring. They'll be bold, they'll be dangerous, and they'll be right in the center of the NFL's most compelling storylines once again. When the dust settles, we might look back at this moment as the turning point, the time when the Dolphins decided they weren't content with just being good, they wanted to be spectacular. And if Kyler Murray ends up taking snaps in Miami, spectacular might be exactly what they get. Still with us? Then show some love, hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? Tyler Boyd, the name that's been quietly floating around NFL rumor mills for months, is finally back in the chatter with what could be a surprising twist in his career trajectory. For weeks, the wide receiver has been without a team, and every passing day seemed to add fuel to the speculation. Was this the end of the road for Boyd as a reliable presence on the field? Or was he simply biding his time for the right opportunity to reassert himself? Fans and insiders alike were scratching their heads, wondering if Boyd's absence from team rosters was a reflection of the shifting dynamics in the league, salary cap constraints, or perhaps a deeper strategic consideration from teams hesitant to commit to a player whose potential, while undeniable, comes with questions about fit and utilization. The narrative around him had grown almost cinematic, an athlete of undeniable skill, navigating an uncertain landscape, waiting for the moment that could redefine the next chapter of his professional journey. And now, That moment seems to be here, albeit in a way few expected. Rumors are swirling that Boyd has found a landing spot with the Miami Dolphins, a team that has been actively exploring ways to bolster its receiving cores and inject more versatility into its offensive schemes. The Dolphins, known for their forward-thinking approach, appear to have identified Boyd as a potential piece capable of bridging gaps in their lineup, particularly with a quarterback who thrives on timing, route precision, and exploiting mismatches. While nothing is official yet, the buzz is palpable among insiders who are pointing to a combination of strategic need, an opportunity that could make this move mutually beneficial. Boyd's skill set, characterized by crisp route running, reliable hands, and a knack for creating separation in crucial moments, aligns with the Dolphins' apparent vision of adding depth and experience to a roster that has been actively looking to shake things up. There's a certain irony to it, too. Boyd, who had been navigating the free agent market with patience, might now find himself in a situation that perfectly amplifies his strengths, allowing him to contribute meaningfully without the pressure of being the centerpiece. Observers suggest that this could be a classic case of timing meeting preparation, where both player and team see a convergence of opportunity that has the potential to be transformative, at least in terms of how the Dolphins approach their passing game and roster balance moving forward. Rumors about Boyd's potential fit have sparked conversations among analysts and fans, with social media platforms lighting up with speculation, debates, and sometimes even heated arguments about whether this would be a masterstroke or a gamble. Some argue that Boyd brings the kind of experience that can anchor younger receivers and offer a dependable target for high-stakes situations, while others point out that his statistical peaks have often been inconsistent, making it a story that could go either way. Yet, the intrigue is undeniable, and part of what makes this potential move so fascinating is the context in which it's happening. The Dolphins' front office, known for their willingness to take calculated risks, seems to be operating under a philosophy that sometimes the timing of acquisition is as critical as the player's resume itself. In Boyd's case, the narrative is layered. Here is a wide receiver who has experienced both highs and lows, who has navigated the complexities of contracts, team dynamics, and performance expectations, and who now may be stepping into an environment that could allow him to redefine his legacy. The murmurs within the NFL ecosystem suggest that while the move might not make immediate headlines in the way blockbuster trades do, the subtleties of it, the blend of talent, opportunity, and situational advantage, could make it one of those stories that quietly but meaningfully influences a team's season trajectory. Analysts are poring over Boyd's past performances, dissecting route trees, target shares, and efficiency metrics, all while trying to gauge how his skill set might translate into the Dolphins system. The consensus seems to be that, if used wisely, Boyd has the potential to be a high-leverage player, someone who might not always grab the spotlight but could make critical contributions in moments that define games. Off the field, Boyd's situation has also captured attention, with narratives about his journey through free agency painting a picture of resilience and adaptability. His professional path, marked by both opportunity and uncertainty, resonates with the idea that the NFL is as much about timing and fit as it is about raw talent. The buzz around him joining the Dolphins carries an almost cinematic undertone. A talented player who, after a period of ambiguity, finds a situation that could allow him to not only showcase his skills but also reinvigorate his career trajectory. Fans are imagining the possibilities: Boyd lining up against top cornerbacks, executing crisp routes, and perhaps becoming a reliable option in critical downs. Speculation is rampant. Will he be deployed primarily in the slot, taking advantage of mismatches against linebackers, or will he stretch the field, testing the speed and reaction of opposing defenses? Every angle is being considered, and every scenario adds to the anticipation and excitement surrounding this developing story. The Dolphins' locker room dynamics are also part of the discussion, as Boyd's integration into the team is seen as a factor that could influence not just performance, but also morale and mentorship. Veterans in the receiving corps may see him as a complement to their existing talents, while younger players might look to him for guidance and stability. There's an unspoken expectation that Boyd's experience and approach to preparation could positively impact the overall culture, contributing to a more cohesive offensive unit. Meanwhile, rival teams are reportedly taking notice, recalibrating their strategies as whispers of Boyd's potential arrival circulate. Opposing defenses may need to adjust their coverage schemes, accounting for a player whose agility and route precision could create new challenges. In that sense, even before any official announcement, Boyd's mere association with the Dolphins has already begun to influence the strategic calculus of opponents from a narrative perspective. This rumored acquisition taps into broader storylines that NFL fans and commentators love. The comeback, the opportunity seized, the calculated risk. Boyd, after months of uncertainty, represents a player who embodies the intersection of perseverance and readiness. There's a sense that he has been patiently positioning himself for a moment like this, and the Dolphins could be the team willing to offer it. The ripple effects are already evident. Social media discussions, fan forums, and sports commentary shows are dissecting every angle, from contract implications to how the chemistry between Boyd and his new quarterback might evolve. Speculation abounds about which formations and packages might be most effective, with analysts hypothesizing about red zone targets, third down efficiency, and the potential to exploit defensive mismatches. Each conversation, whether grounded in data or driven by intuition, reinforces the aura of anticipation surrounding Boyd's next steps. Even as the rumor mills churn, there's a human element that resonates through the story. Boyd, navigating the uncertainty of free agency, is not just a player seeking employment. He is a professional assessing the environment, the team's philosophy, and the potential for long-term success. The Dolphins, on the other hand, are reportedly weighing the combination of talent, opportunity, and fit, understanding that sometimes the right acquisition is not the flashiest, but the one that complements and enhances what is already in place. If the rumors hold true, this pairing could illustrate the nuanced chess game that defines roster management in the NFL, where strategy, timing, and insight converge to create possibilities that might not be immediately obvious to the casual observer but could prove pivotal over the course of a season. Ultimately, Tyler Boyd's rumored move to the Dolphins encapsulates all the elements of a story that sports fans live for: uncertainty, potential, and the subtle but powerful drama of professional opportunity. The narrative is layered, engaging, and filled with what-ifs that fuel debate and discussion as the NFL landscape continues to evolve. This story serves as a reminder that careers are rarely linear, that timing can be as crucial as talent, and that the right situation can transform a player's trajectory in ways that are as surprising as they are exciting. Whether this rumor solidifies into an official announcement or remains speculative chatter for the moment, the mere possibility has captured the imagination of fans, analysts, and insiders alike, leaving everyone eager to see how this unfolding drama will shape both Boyd's career and the Dolphins' offensive prospects. And in the world of professional sports, sometimes the rumors, the buzz, and the anticipation are just as compelling as the action on the field itself. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up!